G'day guys, and welcome to another one of my Digimon ReArise videos. Today we're going to be doing a global tier list. I'm going to break this into two parts. Part one, we're going to do a tier list of how the Digimon are currently in the global meta, and in part two we will see how they hold up and how long they're going to be viable for, so you can see where you want to spend your Digirubies to have the best possible team in the future of Digimon ReArise on the global side. So I'm going to be having a look at all aspects of all the Mega Digimon, or hopefully all the Mega Digimon currently on the global side, including how they go in PvP, how they are in Clash battles, and how they are in the Underworld Dungeon and PvE content as well. Let's kick it off with Alphamon. At the moment he is S tier. He's really powerful in PvP because of his high stats. That seal can be really annoying, and he does build up his attack power, which is really good in Clash battles as well. Moving on to Bancho-Leomon. I'll put him in probably, he's kind of in between. I'll put him in, probably in A tier. His passive skill gets dated really quickly because it only protects blue allies. He is really tanky because he reduces damage on block and increases his own block, but his single and double target skills hold him back a bit. He's okay in Clash battles. I'm gonna leave him in A tier for now. Next up is Barbamon. I'm going to put Barbamon in B tier. He was pretty powerful when he released, but he got power crept really fast. He has a really selfish passive which only protects himself, and his skills, while they do inflict error, it's only a 40% chance. So nothing too crazy here in PvP, Clash battles, or in PvE either. Next, let's do all of the Beelzemon. So let's start with the Calm Blue Beelzemon. I'm going to put him in B tier as well. His main gimmick is he does fixed damage, but it's only really good if you have him at a high skill level. And because he's not such a high tier Digimon, I wouldn't recommend wasting your skill shards on him, so I'm putting him in B tier. The Red Beelzemon is, he's also B tier. His gimmick is that he does more damage to green Digimon, which is good for a while, but at the moment there's not overly a lot of green Digimon dominating the meta, and it's only a single target. He only has single target skills and double target skills, which isn't great. He's not great in Clash battle either. And the free Purple Beelzemon is C tier. There's nothing really going for him. He does reduce defense, which can be good if you're running a specific team, but other than that, nothing too crazy with the Purple Beelzemon here. Next up we have Black Metal Garurumon. I'm going to put him in... At the moment, I would say he's probably S tier. That might sound ridiculous, but that reduced 30% critical rate in his passive is really powerful for a while until some new Digimon get released that completely nullify crit. And he does reduce power of your enemy, so he's kind of a good supporty, makes everyone else tanky Digimon. I think he's pretty good at the moment. Red Boltmon is next. He's in... he's in B tier at the moment. He does do a lot of damage, and he does have his own special plugins, and he can put burn all around the other team, but he does only have a 20% crit boost passive for all allies, and he actually I'm going to put him in A tier because that burn disable can be helpful in the Underworld Dungeon, and he can attack all enemies with a chance to burn, so that's pretty good for PvP as well. I'm putting him in A tier. The Cherubimons, let's start with the green one, B tier here. Nothing too crazy. The passive is selfish to blue and red types, and the heals, not too effective, not the greatest healer in the game, nothing too crazy here. The blue one is a support for blue Digimon, so in Blue Week this guy will be super helpful. He increases block rate, he increases maximum HP of blue Digimon, and his skills either buff defense or reduce critical rate on the other side. So he's really helpful in blue week PvP. He's not higher because his main niche is just that blue week PvP. Next up we have Daemon or Creepymon. I'm going to put this guy in A tier. He released super early on the global side compared to when he released on the JP side, which meant he was pretty powerful when he released. He can draw enemies to him, and then every time he attacks or counters after he uses his main skill, he can heal himself. So I'm putting him in A tier. He's still pretty good in clash battles and PvP, however he's slowly falling out of the meta. Next up is Diaboromon. This guy is in trash tier. I don't like this Digimon at all. He does have an attack build up passive skill, but it takes like 7 or 8 attacks for him to even get to his max attack boost, and even then his stats are so low that he's not going to be doing much damage. The only reason that you would use him would be to put poison, I guess, onto the enemy team, but other than that, but no, trash tier for me. Blue Ebimon, I'm putting him in B tier. I reckon this guy's a little bit underrated. He reduces the enemy's crit rate a little bit, and he can give error all around to the other team, so I'm putting him in B tier. Another trash tier Digimon, we have Metal Etamon. This guy, his passive increases pinpoint rate by 20%. You won't even notice that. It's basically no passive. The only saving grace that he has is he can inflict paralysis, but I would not recommend this guy at all. Next up, we have our first Ultra Digimon on the list, and that is Purple Examon. Unfortunately, this guy is not that good. He is a free-to-play Digimon. You can either get him from the ticket summon, or you can buy him from the egg shop with those points that you get from selling off your Digimon. I'm only putting him in A tier because his stats are so low for an Ultra Digimon. He has the lowest Ultra Digimon stats in the whole game. His passive skill allows him to hit red Digimon a little bit harder. But his stats are, as I said, just too low for him to be doing anything too crazy. So I'm putting him in A tier here. Next up we have Gaiamon. I like this guy. I'm putting him in A tier as well. He has a crit modifier on his main skill, so he does more damage when he hits a crit. So you want to boost his crit up as high as you can and try and wipe out the opposing team in PvP. Or actually, he's quite good in Clash Battle as well, so I don't mind him. I'm putting him in A tier. Alright, the newest Digimon on the block, and that is Gallantmon, or Jukemon. He is obviously in SS tier for now. His main skill is only single target, which is good in Clash Battle, but in PvP, you use that, hopefully you kill him in one shot, and you get a shield, which can protect you for a while, which is really good as well. He also increases his own crit rate and increases the power of red allies, so he'll pair really well with the other high tier red Digimon that you'll see in this tier list. Definitely a must-have for now. Grand Kawagamon, I'm going to put him in, B tier there. He is basically a taunt tank. He taunts the enemy Digimon to attack him, and his passive boosts his own defense. It's pretty simple. He can protect your Digimon for a little bit before he gets killed. Next up we have Hercules Kabuterimon. He is... I'm going to put him in C tier. Like, I'm not overly impressed. He's not the worst. Maybe a low B tier, C tier. His passive skill does nothing, basically. Protects red allies from a few status ailments. And his other skills just boost power and counter rate and things like that. Mostly for red Digimon, so nothing too impressive there. Hyandramon is still really good. I'm going to put him in A tier. That defense buff is really, really powerful still, and it can make your team super tanky. And you never know when that extra little bit of utility from his shock will help you out in PvP. So I wouldn't recommend him in Clash Battles, but in PvP he's still definitely a viable option. Next we have the Imperialdramons, soon to be released or have just been released depending on when you're watching this video. Start with Dragon mode. I'm going to put him in A tier. He's a purple killer and that's about it really. He does increase his own power, so he can be alright in clash battles, but mainly his main purpose, if you're having trouble killing purple Digimon, whack him on your team, he does extra damage to them. Fighter mode, I'm going to put into SS tier. At the moment, with Omegamons running around everywhere in PvP, he's really good because his main skill can ignore damage limiters. So if you have him kitted out enough with your plugins, you can one-shot Omegas at the start of the battle and get rid of their annoyingness for the rest of the match. So I'm putting him in SS tier for now. Now, Kaiser Greymon is a kind of strange and really unique Digimon. I think he's probably in B tier, but he has the potential to be so much higher. So what he does is every time he gets hit, he builds up a little bit of Dragon's power. And if you max that out and use your skill, it can do up to 9 times damage. The only thing is sometimes he doesn't survive long enough to get that off. But unique idea, I just don't think it was implemented that well. And hopefully if they do it again on another Digimon, it will work a little bit better. One of my favorites is Lilithmon. At the moment, she is SS tier. She can ignore shields, she can ignore evasion, she can ignore damage limiters with her main skill, and pierce it and get a little bit of health back, which is really powerful because that's the way the meta is going to shift a little bit down the road. I would recommend her at the moment, and she'll be useful for quite a while in your teams. Next up is Purple Lotusmon. I'm thinking, yeah, C tier. Honestly, nothing too spectacular here. She boosts defense for purple allies, boosts defense for all allies, but other than that, nothing too crazy. And a selfish or purple only status immunity in her passive, so nothing crazy there. 3 different Machinedramons on the global side at the moment. Blue one, C tier. Red one, C tier. Both of them, nothing spectacular about them. The blue one boosts counter rate and can inflict paralysis, and the red one, pretty similar, reduces block rate and can inflict shock. So basically similar, nothing too crazy, low target skills. The yellow one is a different case. I'll put him in A tier. He's the first Digimon, I believe, on the global side to boost counter rate and deal more damage when countering. Being yellow, he has higher defense stats, and if you get him rolling with a few skills, he can do some damage with counters over the course of the match. So A tier for him. Magnamon, the only armor Digimon that we have in this, and he is C tier. He only protects yellow Digimon in his passive, and his main skills aren't going to be doing too much for you either. Magnadramon is S tier at the moment. Really powerful with that revive if she can survive long enough. Her passive skill protects herself from skill lock, so Alphamon can't skill lock her before she revives. And it decreases all enemies' tech by 30%. So it makes your team a little bit tankier. Hopefully it can survive long enough to get that revive off or heal your Digimon back up again. With the release of Dukemon, Gallantmon, at the moment, this guy is S tier. He deals extra damage to red Digimon, 1.35 times damage, and he can pierce shield. So if an enemy Dukemon gets his shield up, you can use this guy's main skill and hopefully kill him with his shield still up. Green Marine Angemon, I'm going to put into C tier. Simply not tanky enough to get the heals off, really. She can heal and she can also revive allies, just not tanky enough to get the job done. Mega Gargomon, an off choice for blue weak. He can protect your blue allies from some status effects and do a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy there. The blue Metal Garurumon, he started really powerful on Global. Unfortunately, Freeze isn't a great status effect, and he's just not that powerful anymore. It's kind of a similar story with Yellow Miscellaneous. His stats are so low that his tanky passive skills and his tanky skills just don't help him out that much. I really like Minervamon because she reduces defense of the enemy team and she can hit really hard. She's pretty common in eggs and stuff, so you can get a skill level up from hatching eggs if you're lucky, and in summons, and she can do a bit of damage, but mainly that defense reduction is really, really good. Mirage Gagaumon, I'm going to put him in B tier. You would never use this guy in PvP. He's Clash Battle only. He has a single target skill which reduces defense and block rate and does a fair bit of damage. That's seriously it. He's not doing that much for your team there. Noble Pumpkinmon was a Halloween special Digimon on the global side. So if you're playing right around the start of global, you'd have this guy. I'm going to put him in B tier. He increases block rate of allies, but he can spread sleep around really well in PvP, so that's great. I don't think we need much explanation for this guy, but yeah, Omegamon SS tier. That damage limiter is so powerful. His main skill with crit modifier is so powerful. He's just really, really great, and you'll see him in almost every single PvP team at the moment, which is why things like Imperialdramon, Fighter Mode, and Lilithmon are so powerful at the moment, because they kind of counter him. You know you're going to be facing him, so you might as well build your team around beating him. A Finimon, probably a B tier Digimon there. She protects yellow and green Digimon and boosts their HP. She can remove status effects from your Digimon, and she has a weak heal as well, but nothing too crazy there. Phoenixmon is kind of in the same boat. His heal only affects red and blue Digimon, I believe. Which is alright if you're running a red and blue heavy dominated team, but it is kind of specific to the team that you're running if you want to use this guy as your main healer or not. If you have a heap of purple or green Digimon on your team, he's not going to be that helpful. Paimon is C tier Piedmon. Nothing too impressive. He was pretty good when the game released. However, he's fallen off pretty hard there. Blue Paimon actually isn't that bad. I'm going to put him in A tier. He boosts his own attack rate for one turn and his critical rate for one turn, so he can hit pretty hard in Blue Week PvP. Yep, don't even need to say much about them. Trash tier, live in the trash. Next up is Pleasiumon. He has a universal heal, so he heals the whole team, which is pretty good. I'm going to put him in A tier. His main downfall is he's not very tanky, so hopefully he can survive long enough to get that heal off, or when it's required. But it does affect all your allies, so I guess that's a saving grace for Pleasiumon there. Sorry Prince Mamamon, but you are trash tier. I mean, a passive increased pinpoint rate by 20%. You won't even notice this guy on your team. Puppetmon is C tier at the moment. Unfortunately, he's one of my favourite Digimon, but he just hasn't held up. He released towards the start of the game. He might have even been in the game at the start. Nothing too spectacular coming from Puppetmon, unfortunately. Ragumon is also... I'm going to put him in A tier because you can build a team around this guy and make him really, really effective. So he heals all your allies with his sub skill, but his main skill allows red allies to evade one attack. So paired with Omegamon, Gallopmon, Alphamon, and you could probably put like a Boltmon or another red Digimon in there. That gives you 4 stacks of evade, which can help you out a little bit in the matches. So I'm going to put him in A tier. If you build your team correctly, he can be quite good. Ravemon started powerfully again, has fallen off. I'm going to put him in C tier there. He does nullify blind to all allies, but his skills just aren't doing enough damage for him to be really useful and taking up a spot in your PvP team. And Rosemon's, Blue Rosemon is C tier, honestly, nothing too spectacular there. Doesn't do that much damage. Passive skill only helps blue allies, but it's only for paralysis, so really, really niche. Green Rosemon's a little bit higher simply because she has a heal that affects all of your allies, and she can remove blindness from your team. So putting her in B tier for that one. Red Rust Tyrannomon. I'm saying yellow because yellow Rust Tyrannomon is a meta changer almost. When he releases, if you like Rust Tyrannomon, there's something good coming for you guys there. I'm going to put him in B tier. He can nullify shock and do a little bit of damage and debuff the enemy a little bit. He's not the worst, also not the greatest. Saberleomon is quite good in clash battles. I'm going to put him in B tier there. He can do a lot of damage with his single target main skill. Wouldn't recommend him in PvP, but in clash battles he can get the job done. And he reduces cooldown time of red Digimon, which can be useful for your, again, red core that we've got going on up here. Sakuyamon is B tier. She can prevent skill lock, which is good for countering Alphamon, and she can do a multi-target hit, which provides skill lock to the other team. So not too bad in PvP, not great in clash battle, middle of the road there. I think it's going to be a similar story for Seraphimon here. He can protect red allies again, building that red core from a few status effects, and he does a little bit of damage with his main skills, so I'm going to put him in B tier there. Shine Greymon, I really don't like this Shine Greymon. Even when he released, he wasn't that powerful. He can inflict burn and nullify poison to all allies. Actually, that nullify poison's not bad. I'm going to put him in B tier. He's a low B tier, maybe high C tier there. Slayerdramon, C tier. He's more of a trophy Digimon that you get from the ticket banner. I don't like him. He doesn't do any spectacular. He has low target skills. He can inflict poison. That's about it. Nothing crazy with Slayerdramon there, apart from looking cool and having cool animations. Slepmon or Kentasaurmon is pretty good at the moment. His main skill can give him a stack of evasion, which is really good. Actually gives all blue allies a stack of evasion, which is really good in Blue Week, and you can team him up with some of the other powerful blue Digimon and get something really good there, a little evasion strat. Titamon, C tier. He's tanky. That's about all you get. He protects red allies, like a lot of Digimon do from a few status effects, but nothing too crazy there. Ulforce. Look, Omegamon has really knocked him down a little bit, because now he can't one-shot the whole team, basically, or 3 enemies with his main skill. He does continue to fall out of the meta as teams get more tanky and more defensive mechanisms get added into the game. However, he does have a little bit of a resurgence later on. I'm going to put him in S tier. If you have him there and the opponent doesn't, you don't need to worry about speed, so you can stack up on crit and other things on all your Digimon as well. So S tier at the moment there. Valkyriemon, I put him in... I'm going to put him in... He's like a high B tier. He's pretty good. He does quite a lot of damage. He has a really cool animation. He increases his own and purple team's crit rate, and he does quite a lot of damage with his main and his sub skill. He can increase his own power, so he's good in clash battles. It takes about 3 or 4 skills to use, and then he'll be at his max power there. Venomiotismon is in C tier. Nothing too crazy there. He can inflict poison on the other team, but honestly, that's about it. He does protect you from skill lock, which can counter Alphamon, but there is many other better options that you could use. Vikemon is probably the weirdest Digimon to release with his own clash battle rate. I'm putting him in C tier because it was, even when he was released, he was so undertuned. There's nothing impressive about this Digimon. He can inflict freeze, which is probably one of the worst status effects to inflict. He increases pinpoint rate and he nullifies shock and freeze to yellow. Like, what were they thinking? I don't know. Just so underwhelming. Moving on to the War Greymons, let's start with the red one of the OGs, and I still think he's really good, not for PvP, but Clash Battles. 2 single target skills, one which increases power. He's pretty good in Clash Battles. He has his own plugins for attack, defense, and eventually they'll release plugins for his the third slots, which is like his status effect protection, which are unique to him to give him a really good boost. Clash Battle, he's still good. I like him. The blue War Greymon is also A tier. He reduces cooldown time for blue allies, so he's really good in blue weak PvP. And the yellow one is pretty tanky. He has a really cool animation. I'm going to put him in B tier here. Alright, so that's my personal global tier list for, it's 2020, about the middle of April when I'm doing this. This is obviously going to change a lot as new Digimon get released, new supports, new defensive mechanics. This tier list will change around a lot. If you think I've got something wrong, that's your opinion. Write in the comments down below where you think Digimon should go and how they should move around. Currently, I think this is pretty accurate. I come in more from a PvP perspective, but I have placed a few Digimon based on their Clash Battle performance as well. So I'm going to make a second part to this video. I might do it in a separate video because I know this has gone for quite a long time. And it's going to have different tiers for how these Digimon hold up in the future. And that way you can plan where you spend your Digirubies for the global side and which Digimon are still going to be useful for you 2, 3, 4 months down the track, and which ones are going to fall off hard and not be useful anymore. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like. Comment your favourite Digimon, your tier lists. Make sure you subscribe so you're up to date with the latest Digimon ReArise news, so we can become the best Digimon ReArise players possible. Also, make sure you check out that Discord. So much good information there. I really love it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!